Okay, welcome to this special bonus feature section for The Factory, the last broadcast. I'm your host, Wesley Critchfield. I also played Quentin Beak. I'm also the executive producer for Club 40 Audio, but don't think that's any sort of hubris. I was simply the main character in this program simply because it was the simplest way to go. Hopefully on our next show, which as a special little bonus feature for you guys, is going to be a ghost story that I've written a few years ago, and I really enjoyed it, and I think it'll be a great adaptation. And we've already started writing the script for that, so hopefully that'll be out to you soon. Wanted to start off by giving you just a little bit of a glimpse into who we are and who I am. I started off loving radio plays back when I was a kid. I would hear things such as the Disney Storytime Reader books. When you hear this tone, please turn the page, that kind of thing. Grew up listening to those great cartoon and audio voices of Thurl Ravenscroft and Paul Frees and Hal Smith and Mel Blanc, Don Messick, Jim Cummings, the list goes on and on. And I think from a very early age, I realized that that was kind of the thing I wanted to do, the sort of thing I wanted to work on. Always had a real love of being told stories, both by my mother and father as a child, and then as I grew up, began to listen to those audio tapes and audio books and so on. And then there was a very fateful day that we somehow got into discussing. There had been an incident back in the 1930s where people had believed that there was an alien invasion going on. And those of you who are audiophiles will, of course, realize that that was Orson Welles' War of the Worlds. So I was very intrigued by this, and I asked my mother, I said, what was that all about? And she explained a little bit that she knew about it, and we went on and we found a recording of the War of the Worlds. Now, this is back before the internet was really much of a thing, and we certainly didn't have it in the house. There wasn't all those things like those free audio resources that are out there now, like archive.org, where you can go and listen to that right now. So we had to scout around a little bit and search for a record or a recording of that show so I could finally actually hear it. We went to bookstore and things like that, and finally we actually found this CD of the War of the Worlds. Well, I mean, I was hooked at that point. And then I realized, wait, not only is there this, there's more. There's a whole bunch out there. So it was a revelation that, not only is there movies and stories and everything, but there's this whole new world of audio where you can just sit back, close your eyes, and listen, and it literally becomes a movie in your mind. So how did I come up with the last broadcast? Well, most authors will tell you, I don't know where my ideas come from, because most of the time they're just ripping off other authors. And this is something that they lie and say, you don't know where you get a lot of your inspirations. Well, yeah, there is no well of inspiration. There's no place that you go to and you say, all right, Muse, behold, I am here to receive your gifts. No, of course not. But it comes from little things, little ideas, little moments in your head, if you will. And no, I am not psychotic. But for me, the moment actually kind of came from, I was watching the Will Smith version of I Am Legend. And at one point during the movie, he is broadcasting over this frequency, and he's got it on a loop. So you get the idea that he's got it on tape, and it's always playing. He says, I'm out here, I have this, I have that, I can supply food. Please, if you're out there, please find me. Well, when he said please, I heard in my head, please call me. For the love of God, somebody please call me. Which is, if you've listened to the show by this point, then you know that's the last line of the play. Well, that was interesting. It was just one of those things that was, that's an interesting idea. I might file that away for later. Then I found out that a lot of radio stations, particularly talk shows, will record their callers on a separate track so that there is no recording of your host. So that idea came together with the previous idea, and I said, aha. Then I thought, well, what if pretty much every disaster that you've ever heard of on the History Channel actually kind of came true? A recent movie that did something like that said, you would feel that kind of earthquake on the East Coast. Well, if there's that massive kind of plate tectonics and shifting going on, who's to say it wouldn't kick off other things? And that made me think of Yellowstone Park, which we just refer to in the play as the park. But I think that's kind of the way that it would end up being after a while. It would not, you wouldn't say, because in society we develop a sort of shorthand. We say things like, we don't say the attack on the World Trade Centers pretty much anymore. We say 9/11. And people know exactly what that is, okay? So, in the same way, I thought the park would do that. And then for those who don't necessarily know that Yellowstone is a giant super volcano, that would be something for them to go and look up. And because our goal here at Club 40 Audio is to educate as well as entertain. So that's the kind of thing that goes on in a writer's head. And all of those different ideas, sometimes they take, weeks or months to formulate, and then other times they fall like dominoes. I compare it to a game of Tetris where, you move you have all these pieces laying around, all these certain sections laying around, and then one correct piece will fall into place, do-doom, and everything all of a sudden makes sense, and all of a sudden there's a story there, and from these random, disparate ideas, now is a cohesive narrative. And that was pretty much what happened for me with this. The final piece of that was I had long ago seen the TV miniseries movie of The Stand. And in that movie, there is a section where they're listening to the radio, and Kathy Bates actually is playing a radio show host, and she's trying to run the studio by herself while the rest of the world is falling apart. Now, I won't ruin for you how that particular little episode ends, but it's about a 5-minute section of the story, and it's not really the whole thing. And I thought, well, there it is. There's your key. With the combination of the radio show host running the studio by themselves, and then the ending that I had come up for when watching I Am Legend of, a man going insane, screaming out into the radio, please somebody call me, for the love of God, somebody call me. That was the moment where everything kind of coalesced and came together, and I said, aha, there's the story. That's the way you do it. And you make it seem like it's just a normal broadcast at first, and then you start dropping little clues. So after listening to me for the last 40 minutes on the show, and now for about another 10 minutes, I'm guessing, I think it's time for me to stop talking, at least directly to you, and let you in on some of the funny little comments and bloopers that happen while you're recording. This particular radio drama was actually put together mostly from cell phones and other people's computer microphones and so on like that. I, of course, have a pretty decent microphone. I use the Ice Blue microphone, in case you're wondering. But other friends of mine just recorded their bits and pieces on cell phones and sent that in to me. Sometimes you can't even tell. It's amazing to me how good the technology has gotten in things like the iPhone, where it sounds like a studio microphone. It's almost unbelievable to me. But sometimes when you're recording, some funny things happen, and we're going to give you a glimpse into that. So thank you for listening to Club 40 Audio.
Hi, Quentin. It's Carl from Missouri. Wow, first line.
This was the easy one.
Hi, Carl. It's Carl. It's been a long day. It's been a long week.
Yes, it has.
And it's only Tuesday. Yeah. All this trouble we're having right now started with the Gulf of Tonkin. Tonkin.
Premium!
Saruman. Alright. Okay,
Double space.
Internet blooper reel.
Pretty much. This will be on the special features for the subscribers there. Subscribers get more. I wish. God, I wish.
You were just saying that because every word I'm saying is the truth. Beak? Truth.
Yeah, beak. Quantum beak.
Okay. I was like, beak? What the? All right, yeah. Okay, so beak is the name. All right.
Right. I probably should have a comma after that.
Great continuity. Great grammar.
Grammar saves lives.
Because poor literacy is not to be appreciated.
Pretty much.
You were just saying that because every word I'm saying is the truth, Beak. You and the Illuminatus that hired you to help them cover up the massive global international... Massive global?
Massive global multi-international conspiracy.
I mean, wouldn't multi-international be global?
Yes.
Okay.
This guy believes in aliens. I don't think we ever get to aliens, but he believes the aliens. Yeah, aliens. Okay, he believes everything.
Global is multi-international. Come on, fellas, you're losing your heads.
I'm not directing any living actor this way. Yeah, no, that's the idea. He's crazy.
Prove to me that global and multi-international is different, and I'll make Dr. Pepper. You ruined what I was going to say.
Sorry.
Never mind.
I already make Dr. Pepper for you. I'm sorry.
I'll do the arches for you. That's old school.
Wow.
That is old school.
Wow.
And furthermore, Beck, you are a... What?
Beak.
Beak.
Not Beck. You say Beck. That's a real problem. You're giving away the...
Okay. And furthermore, Beak, you are a... Less Tim Allen?
A little less Tim Allen. Again, I'm trying not to get sued here. So, everyone in the world who has not taken the antidote will fall down on their faces, leaving the world incapacitated as we take over. Then we'll turn off...
Yes!
Pretty much. Oh, you should hear how I actually perform this. I'm very much doing, the evil genius. Then we'll turn off the beams at least halfway so people can move again, just so they can literally bow down before us as the new overlords of planet Earth.
Oh, wait, no. What if they just take off my pants? Then we shall take over the world very quickly.
Alright.
I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! Newman!
Hello, Jerry.
Hello, Quentin. I knew it! I knew it! You're trying to control my brain!
A little too much. Tip it down now. Back it up.
You're trying to control my brain, not the mind.
Pretty much.
Or do you want a little bit more? Hey,
try one like that.
You're trying to control my brain. Beak.
Oh no, Carl, you're too smart for us to control. We're simply going to kill you. No muss, no fuss, no worry. In a moment, I'm going to...
MyDisasterInc.com. Sorry. But could you imagine if you had Christopher Walken as, your legalese person? You don't want to take this. When open, we do not guarantee that your child will actually become the food.
Oh my god, you're eating people! Eats people! MyDisasterInc.com eats people!
Does DisasterInc.com sell Soylent Green?
You'll never know.
The world may never know. MrDisasterInc.com. How many people does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll Center or whatever your crap is?
Let's find out! 1, 2, 3. Where'd you?
Wow.
I've been playing too much Fallout.
Evidently. Please consult with your local doctor or ninja Hindu nuns.
Ninja Hindu nuns.
Wow. Yeah, go for it.
Ninja Hindu nuns. Because, ninjutsu is clearly a teaching of the Hindu way.
Of course. Wait, no!
Alright.
Okay, go from side effects.
Yeah. And in rare cases, hardening of the arteries leading to the complete failure of the nervous, pulmonary, and respiratory systems. Women who are pregnant or may become pregnant or will never become pregnant should not handle Flu Buddy. I'm proud of that line.
Yes.
Side effects may include coughing, sneezing, leaping, oozy, drowsy. It's always when they start mentioning the symptoms, it's like, hold up, why would I want to take this?
Yeah.
This concludes the bonus features for The Factory, the last broadcast. This has been a presentation of Club 40 Audio. All rights reserved.